LSU leads Alabama by 6 just moments ago. Our John Dockery talked to Alabama head coach Mike DeBose.
Coach, what do you do defensively to slow down LSU?
Well, we got to play better between the 20s. We played pretty good in the red zone defense. Have not played very well between the 20s. We got to get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback, on the boots and stuff. We got to get tighter coverage on the receivers. The best thing, the most important thing we got to do, we got to move the football offensively, make some first downs, score some points, keep our defense off the field.
Craig Bolerjack back along with Ed Cunningham, and first downs have been a problem for Alabama. They have not moved the ball offensively in the first 2 quarters.
Yeah, they really need to start getting some more movement on their offense. Like Coach DeBose said, get your defense off the field so that they can get some rest and play better defense.
Alabama will have the football to start the 3rd quarter. Danny Boyd has it teed up for LSU at the 35-yard line. Richard and Millens will receive for Bama. Richard will take it out. Hits the pile up at the 15 and driven back. Good special teams coverage by LSU. And Ed, let's take a look at our halftime stats brought to you by Xerox. You see the score. A lot of offense, but yet, tell you, touchdowns, field goals, tough to come by.
A lot of offense for LSU, very little for Alabama. Both teams haven't made many mistakes, no turnovers, but it's amazing with 254 yards of offense that LSU has not been able to score but 6 points. But DeBose talked about it in his halftime interview. They've played pretty well in the red zone, but LSU with those missed kicks, they're killing themselves.
Andrew Zhao, the freshman quarterback, under center as we start the 3rd quarter. LSU by 6. Bama will run with Alexander. And 2nd and 3rd effort, he'll pick up a tough 2 to the 21. Eddie, we talked about the 6-0 score. It actually, you're looking at 7 more that LSU missed.
Yeah, there was 3 missed field goals. Kristen Chauvin on his first kick, zoinks right off the upright. Then Chauvin again, kind of shanks this one, and this one, it doesn't hit an upright, but it hits the crossbar. And now we'll go to Danny Boyd, and it's his turn on the extra point after the touchdown by Falk to hit the upright. All 3 kicks by LSU in the first half caught steal.
You know, I think we could call games until we're 90, and I don't know if we'd ever see that again. LSU showing blitz, like a broken play, but Zhao able to throw it out to the flat. Oh, what a run. Freddie Millens. Stop. Left some change. Stop. And then picked up big yardage up to the 43-yard line. Robert Davis, the right corner, finally made the stop.
Coverage by number 45, Jamal Hill, comes on the blitz. He read run. He didn't actually blitz. They threw the little fake like they were throwing the toss. Great run by Millens after the catch, but it was the mistake by Jamal Hill. He read run, came off of his coverage. Millens is wide open.
And Millens picks up 22 yards and a first down for Alabama. Alexander to the 46, and it was hit and hit hard by Jarvis Green, number 59. You know, he is known for a great pass rusher with 8 sacks, but Lou Tepper, the defensive coordinator, told us he's just scratching the surface of what this young freshman can do.
And Lou Tepper spent time at Virginia Tech, where he basically developed this defense. The tail end of his tenure at Virginia Tech, they had a guy by the name of Bruce Smith. And he didn't want to compare Jarvis Green to Bruce Smith, but he had a hard time not doing it.
And we know what Bruce Smith has done in his NFL career. Play action. Oh, Jackson pulls it down. Quincy Jackson, touchdown. "53 yards. It was batted up in the air. Jackson kept his eyes on the football, and it's 6 for Bama.
Never stop running a route, never stop concentrating on the football. Excellent coverage by the freshman Davis. Goes up to make a play, but it gets through his hand. Jackson with the great anticipation of the play. Never stop, and you can make big plays like that.
Extra point to come. Wisniewski. High snap, the hold is down, the kick is up, and Alabama on a 53-yard catch, and what a catch. Quincy Jackson. Bama 7, LSU 6. El Harry Houdini would have been Quincy Jackson. A beautiful catch, 53-yarder. 4 plays at 82 yards, 2:07 off the clock.
And what's amazing is those 82 yards on that drive were 4 more than Alabama had in the entire first half. I guess Coach DeBoe's halftime speech about, hey, offense, you got to wake up, I guess it took hold.
Mark Wisniewski has it teed up. Short kick taken by Neely. And Neely to the 27-yard line.
You know, the thing about sports is sometimes it's just dumb luck when things happen. Robert Davis, the freshman cornerback for LSU, has great coverage on Quincy Jackson. I mean, you can't run with a guy better than this. Turn around, I go up to make the play. Oh, it goes through my fingers into Jackson's hand. Davis, he'll replay that play time and time again in his head. But again, just dumb luck. Goes through his hand. Jackson somehow holds on with his right hand. What a great play by Quincy Jackson.
7th touchdown throw of the year for Zhao. LSU flags are down. Herb Tyler hooks it up big with Foster, who missed some time because of an ankle problem. Marcus Spencer made the stop, but a flag is down. Here's Astor Sizemore.
Holding against Bedlam. Decline. First down.
Reggie Miles, a true freshman cornerback, is out there covering on Foster. And right at the end of the play, he grabbed a hold of Foster's jersey. Foster able to get away. That was where the flag was thrown. Good run by Foster. Remember, in the first half, he went in, you mentioned, for that sprained ankle. Doesn't look like it's bothering him at all. Made some nice cuts on that run.
Foster with 4 catches, 59 yards. There's the one-back option. Tyler with the pitch out. And Falk takes a hit down to the 27. He was chopped down low and maybe slow to get up. Tony Dixon, the strong safety, made the hit.
Oh, you can't figure that Kevin Falk in his last game at Tiger Stadium will stay on the ground for very long. Probably has a little bit of a thigh bruise. No, I'm not coming out. Here's that one-back option that we drew up earlier in the game. A good force of the pitch, but there's nobody home. The one-back option puts so much pressure on the defensive backs. It's a little hit on the thigh on Falk, but he says, I'm not coming out of this game, Coach.
14-yard gain for Falk. Alabama with a 7-6 lead. Falk right up the gut.
You know, a guy gets a little ding. Instead of walking it off, you run it off. It's called a little dive play and see how many yards he can get.
Number 88, Kenny Smith, the sophomore from Meridian, Mississippi. Made the tackle, 276-pound sophomore.
You know, everything you read about Kevin Falk, decided not to go to the NFL last year, would have been a late first-round, early second-round pick, as told by the NFL Advisory Committee. But a lot of people in the NFL, even though the LSU's had a bad year, said he's improved his stock in the draft.
Again, the flip out option. Falk has a lane. Wrestled out at the 5-yard line. And now late flags are tossed in. Marcus Spencer was there to make the tackle, but it may have been a little bit late. Falk is just slowly, Ed, chipping away at that century mark.
If you're going to run any type of the option, get a personal foul for the late hit out of bounds.
Against Alabama.
If you're going to run any type of option, you need great blocking by your wide receivers downfield. There is so much room for Falk to run because the 2 wide receivers on that side of the field did a great job. Oh, no question about it. That's number 41. Marcus Spencer, who just threw him down out of frustration, but a great job by the LSU wide receivers blocking downfield.
First and goal from the 3-yard line. Falk off the right side and hit the pile and down to the 2. Tony Dixon made the tackle. As you look at Jerry DiNardo.
You know, one thing I think all coaches should do, and I would assume that Jerry DiNardo does this, is know when some of your players are going for a record. If Kevin Falk scores on this, he becomes the all-time leader in rushing touchdowns and overall touchdowns at LSU. That's a big deal for University that helps in recruiting as well.
Second down and goal. Falk, 17 carries, 95 yards. Needs 29 more to reach 1,000. Falk up in the lane, no. Maybe lost a yard. Back to the 3, maybe 4-yard line.
But the one thing you have to remember, the most important thing is that you score the touchdown. Alabama doing their best Notre Dame impression with a little bit of goal line defense. Good penetration by the red shirts. They got up the field. Number 97, Cornelius Griffin, the defensive tackle, got up the field, made a little penetration. Falk had to make a move before he got to the line of scrimmage.
And Ed, though, you look at it defensively, it's a pretty easy read, don't you think? That you look at Falk in the backfield, the money man, you just key in on him.
But the problem is you also got that guy named Herb Tyler who can run great play action fakes.
Third down goal from the 2. And tried to sneak the option and is buried under a sea of red. That's going to bring up a 4th down. Boy, what a stand by Alabama's front. Griffin was there once again.
Tito Smith, number 89, comes from his inside linebacker spot. It was that one-back option that LSU has run twice in this drive for big plays. That time Smith came from his inside linebacker spot. Good blow-up of the play by getting that penetration.
Chauvin from 20 yards. Kick is up, chip shot. Good. Well, he must run to the sideline with some a sigh of relief. LSU back on top, 9-7.
NASDAQ Amex College Football on CBS is sponsored by Suzuki. 10-10-2-20. Sun America. And by Old Spice Deodorant.
Welcome back to Death Valley.
Richard and
LSU back on top by a score of 9-7. Boyd with the kick. Ankles to the near corner. Richard takes the knee. 5 yards deep. We'll get caught up around the league tomorrow on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines with Jimmy Nance, George Seifert, Brent Jones, and Marcus Allen. Bonnie Bernstein, and keep watching for the NASDAQ Amex halftime report as our guys and gal keep you on top of the action during yet another busy Sunday around the National Football League.
Just getting by the halfway point of the NFL season, things starting to sort themselves out. The funnest race for me to watch is that AFC East. A lot of great stories going on.
Elway continues. You got to rethink that retirement story. Alexander breaks the tackle, breaks another, stiff arm to the 35. And Alexander taken down to the turf at the 27 by Mark Roman, the free safety.
You know, it was so much fun yesterday when we got to meet with Sean Alexander, talking about that great night he had here 2 years ago, 291 yards. Said he ran every ball like it was last run. And I said, well, do you still run like that? And he said, yeah, I learned a lot from that night. This time, takes Roman for a ride, the stiff arm, very physical run by Sean Alexander.
18 yards.
Now you see his numbers, 12 carries, 65 yards. Eddie, he accounts for 86% of Alabama's rushing yards this season. Tigers throw a blitzing backer. Alexander up to the 39, tackled by McFarland and little help from Charles Smith.
You know, it's an amazing, looking at that score, 9-7, how much of this game has progressed back and forth, and we only have 16 points on the board. It's almost astounding.
Good look at Charles Smith, number 35, just really coming back into his own, Ed. Had an accident. Radiator cap came off while he was doing some engine repair work, suffered some burns, and he's just now getting his football feet back underneath him.
Missed all of fall camp and most of spring camp with a shoulder surgery.
Flags are down. The catch is pulled down. Nifty move by Locke, but hold on, a flag thrown at the 38-yard line.
Well, this is complete to Locke. Flag on the play.
Free play for the Alabama offense. On a short gain, you always accept the penalty because now you'll have 2nd and about 2 instead of 3rd and 2 with the play. But Lou Tepper, the new defensive coordinator at LSU, has taken a lot of heat. Last year he was hired right before LSU played Notre Dame in the Independence Bowl, put together just kind of a shell of his defense, asked for a little help as defensive back coach. They had to promote Jerry DiNardo to be the defensive back coach so Lou could handle the defense. But he's taking a little heat, brought in a new scheme, tried to teach it. It's a 3-4 scheme, but it's really kind of a 4 down. But Lou Tepper, former head coach at Illinois, is taking some heat. But you've seen today, these guys have really come to play, flying around and making some good plays on defense.
Well, he told us, too, his wife, he looked at his wife after the bowl victory over Notre Dame and said, oh, wait till that first loss. There's been some heat in Baton Rouge. Oh, out to the flat. Dustin McClintock, the fullback, showing, I got some hands. 7th catch of the year. And a first down for Alabama, 10-yard pickup, tackled by the free safety, Mark Roman.
Mark Roman having a very busy day today. But that's one thing an offense can do, like we talked about with the tight end earlier in the game. LSU used the tight end a lot to free up the middle. You can also use that fullback out of the backfield, and it takes that free safety out of the coverage in the middle of the field.
Freddie Millens, number 15, checks in. There's that different set. Alabama now splits 3 wideouts from the eye, and flags are thrown.
Flags.
Good ball. Ball start. On the red. Repeat the down.
You know, you talked about that shutout against, not quite a shutout, but a great game on defense by the defense of LSU against Notre Dame in the Independence Bowl. And that's one of the reasons that LSU had such high expectations coming into the game. Really did a good job against Notre Dame in the Independence Bowl. And it's funny you talked about Tepper. He knew things, if they started going bad after this type of performance against Notre Dame, that he would take some heat.
First down and 5. Call that 15. And a fumble by Alexander, and they'll lose a loss of another 3. Arnold Miller was there.
Arnold Miller made the tackle. Loss of 2. Second down.
You know, there's always that misnomer about the 3-4 defense. There is a linebacker, and there he is, Arnold Miller. He's listed as a rush linebacker because 90 to 95% of the time, he's going to have his hand on the ground coming upfield, so it really kind of turns into a 4-man front.
Second down, 17. Yeah, he was the Independence Bowl defensive MVP. Little pump by Zhao, throws it back underneath to his fullback, McClintock. LSU didn't fight. Everybody stayed at home. Aaron Adams made the tackle.
Aaron Adams made the tackle.
Alabama just setting up a little fullback screen to the middle. Aaron Adams, the linebacker, stays home on this. Good job by Alabama. They let it develop, The offensive lineman released down the field, but good hustle on the part of the LSU linebackers. You know, that's the toughest thing as a linebacker. You've got to drop back, but peek over your shoulder to watch anybody leaking out of the backfield.
Third down, 13. Zhao in the pocket. Down he goes, driven to the turf by Anthony McFarland. Second sack of the day, and that's 8 on the season.
We saw earlier in the game an incompletion forced by good coverage by LSU. This is one of those coverage sacks. McFarland comes around on a little stunt, never gives up, but Zhao just could not find anybody downfield. Give the sack to McFarland, give credit to the LSU secondary.
Daniel Pope at his own 30. Falk and Foster back to receive for LSU. Good hang time. Taken at the 17 by Falk. Flags are down. And Falk dances up to the 37. But a flag on the far side of the field, a 39-yard kick and a 15-yard return. But Astor Sizemore will have a call for us.
Daniel Pope has done an excellent job hanging that ball up there. That time he tried to angle the ball, and it came back into the middle of the field, very dangerous. He's trying to angle it out of bounds at about the 15 and couldn't get the ball over there.
Have an illegal block in the back by the return team, be a 10-yard penalty. First down.
You know, Craig, we've been very lucky
Timeout.
with penalties
TV
so far.
time.
Very light today as LSU leads Alabama 9-7 at Death Valley in Baton Rouge. LSU leads 9-7. Watch what happens on that last punt return, though. Falk, right as he goes down, ends up fumbling the ball. The defender from Alabama got a piece of it. The officials didn't call it. Wouldn't have mattered anyway because Mark Roman ended up recovering the ball for LSU.
Tigers start this drive on their own 11-yard line. They lead by 2, 9-7. Herb Tyler rolls and fires. Connect. And a quick hit to knock down Larry Foster. Reggie Miles on coverage.
Those are the types of things that Herb Tyler can do, though. Get out in space. Bootleg. They used to have to run a lot more bootlegs for Herb Tyler when he was a younger quarterback, wasn't comfortable as a pocket passer, was an option quarterback in high school, but now they can do so many more things with him at quarterback.
Falk, big hole off the right side, breaks a tackle 30, 35, 40. Down to midfield and in Bama territory at the 48. Reggie Miles able to track down Kevin Falk, 34 yards.
You want to feel like you're on Gilligan's Island, all alone with nobody helping you? Have Kevin Falk running right at you if you're number 24, Tony Dixon, and try to get your hands on him. You know, that's got to be the loneliest feeling in college football with a guy like Kevin Falk running right at you and knowing he's got a lot of room to run.
Well, finally, Skipper came by to help. Falk this time just kind of makes that slow move around the far side corner. And down inside the 40 to the 38. Tony Dixon made the tackle.
We didn't see that one-back double option at all in the first half, and we've seen it a ton here in the second half by LSU. Good adjustment by the coaches at LSU to go to that, and it's netted a lot of yards in the second half. That time they pick up nearly 10.
Falk's going to take a breather. 20 carries, Eddie, on the day, 138 yards. He's over 1,000.
He's earned himself a little breather, don't you think?
Yeah, 1,014 for Falk in 1998. You know, Coach DiNardo told us he's the total package. But, you know, Falk will graduate in December with a degree in kinesiology. And he said, you know what, that degree means more to some of the youth around Baton Rouge than touchdowns. Mealy nearly broke out of a stack of red jerseys to the 37. Cornelius Griffin made the tackle.
You know, fullbacks don't get a lot of credit. Tommy Banks right here on your screen is going to run up and get a great block. Gets up underneath the pads of number 1 Chris Horn. And a nice segue into our NASDAQ Amex Scholar Athlete. Tommy Banks doesn't get a lot of pub as a fullback, but carries a great grade point average in microbiology. He's a pre-med major. Not a whole lot of credit, but you need those guys to help your running game.
Split backfield. Falk back in after a one-play rest, and down the sideline he goes to the 7-yard line. Tony Dixon again saved it. But what an explosive run of 29 yards for Kevin Falk.
Kevin Falk needed a little rest, and now you see why. He had to go over there and get some fresh legs to be able to bounce outside. Good job by the left guard number 65, Ryan Thomasy, and there is that stiff arm again. Number 24, Tony Dixon, just gets fought off by Kevin Falk. A superb run. Also, number 47, Reggie Robinson, doing a great job blocking downfield.
Back comes Rondell Mealy. Play action. Tyler Chase throws to the end zone. Touchdown! Kyle Gibbs. Chauvin will try the point after as Kipps hauls down his 3rd touchdown of the season. Up through the uprights, and LSU builds a 16-7 lead. Herb Tyler finds his tight end, Kyle Kipps. LSU on top. We'll be back. Back in Death Valley, and a long kick by Boyd is down, and Alabama will start at the 20-yard line, down 16-7 with 2:20 left, 3rd quarter.
Still in the ball game. LSU has had a great day on offense. They've been able to move the ball, but they only have 16 points to show for it. They've been moving the ball with a lot of different ways. That time they use a play-action fake. Herb Tyler makes a great play running away from people and finds his tight end Kyle Kipps wide open for 6.
And dragging that tight end, releasing him out to the flat, really has opened up LSU's offense. From the shotgun, Zhao hooks up Millens. And Freddie Millens turns on the Jets to the 35. Alabama answers back with a 15-yard pickup. Roman, the free safety, made the tackle.
You know, the only problem when you run screen plays, this is a wide receiver screen, has to run the play fake. The offensive line is releasing to block. You're going to get hit 9 times out of 10 as the quarterback. Good job downfield by the offensive line. Samuels, number 60, gets out there and does a block. And the true freshman Millens, good job reading those blocks and getting down the field.
3 wide receivers from the eye. Alexander, big hole at the 45 near midfield. 1st down, Alabama. At the 48-yard line, Roman again made the tackle. Well, the seas parted for the great Alexander.
That is a huge hole. Number 30 is Dustin McClintock, the fullback. Gets a late block on the linebacker, but it was just enough. Good job by Alexander of reading that block. Again, it's that hesitation. You know, the good backs, they have a way of stopping almost in motion while a block comes in front of them. And Alexander, having a great season, he's closing in on a grand.
Yeah, 11 yards shy. Zhao over the middle, ball tipped and then incomplete. Roman, good coverage. Quincy Jackson was the intended receiver.
Good job by Jackson. The ball thrown behind him. Good job to get his hands on it so Roman couldn't come up with the interception. DuBose has to be pleased with this drive. You go down 16-7, your offense comes out, starts to get a little of that momentum back. Has to be very pleased with the way his freshman quarterback's running this offense.
Well, they shift the offense again. 3 wideouts to the eye. And flags are down.
Flag of the play.
They wouldn't have blown that whistle. That'd have been a heck of a play fake by Zal.
A dead ball. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Those are the things that you cannot do as an offense, especially playing in a place like Death Valley, 80,000 screaming fans, and you can hear them. They'll start to pick it up now after the penalty. You just can't dig yourself into too many holes in a place like this.
Well, Alabama, though, is moving the right direction. They're moving from left to right, and at the end of this end zone is 10,000 Bama faithful.
Headed for a lot of red.
2nd down, 15. Boy, stack it up, 3 wideouts to the near side. They're going to pitch it. It's locked. Well, that's what you call stay-home defense. Thomas Dunson led the LSU charge.
Dunson, a redshirt freshman out of Spring, Texas, does a great job blitzing through the middle, getting up the field, blowing up not only the pitch, but the double reverse. They're trying to go to number 33, Ray, but 52, Dunson, comes on the blitz through the A-gap, gets up the field, and tackling lock, knocks down Ray. What a great play by Dunson.
One of the stronger linebackers at LSU, benches nearly 400 pounds. 4 wide receivers. 3rd down, 29. Zhao dancing, breaks a tackle, 32 up to the 35.
Mitchell made the tackle.
Johnny Mitchell chased Zhao down.
Boy, the LSU defense really turned it up a notch when they had to.
That ends the third quarter, and a wild one here at Death Valley. LSU leads 16-7. We'll come back after this message and a word from your local station.